Alright, this is how this project is gonna work. Presently the fridge is there, as we can see. Alright, and it's not bad, it's actually where it's supposed to be according to the usual traditional design of most of these kitchens in American apartments, but there are problems with that. If I move this fridge to the right and fill up this gap so that this gap will be on the left here, then it's not so good for the oven and for when we cook. Okay, because this way, the way it is now, feels better, works better and everything, okay? And but the problem is, when I start cooking, especially when I cook pasta, and I use that huge, what do you call that? Utensils, that huge pot over there, and I'll put it over here, and then I start heating it up, and I have to use it at maximum heat all the time. This part of the fridge, which feels quite cool right now, very cool, then feels very, very hot. So hot that I even use this thermometer here and measured it, and it just goes about 100 degrees or more and things like that. You can't touch it, it gets so hot you can't touch it. Then that causes the fridge to overwork, so that sometimes we get actual frozen water inside the fridge, which is not right. Okay, and it affects both the freezer as well as the fridge's performance, whatever. Then the other thing is, well, this area, this cabinet, this countertop here and here, it's kind of filled up. For instance, right now I have these guys, this one and that one over here, and although I do have some room left over here, but it is usually filled up with the dirty dishes before we move them into the sink. Okay, and especially on that area, this oven toaster, which we use a lot, is kind of far, you could say, and not much area left here for washed dishes or dirty dishes or other stuff, right? And besides, when we do use this oven, which we use a lot, it's kind of like our microwave oven, which we haven't had for the last 4 to 5 years since we started living in this apartment, in this community. Okay, they don't have a installed microwave oven in their apartments here, so, and we didn't buy one, although we could. Anyway, so this is all kind of our both microwave oven. Now, if we could use those two IKEA coffee tables, one on top of the other, where this fridge is already, after we move the fridge over here to the left of the oven, the main oven, then we can also move the toaster oven as well as these two little guys, and probably some other stuff, such as most of these guys, or maybe all of them, there where the fridge is or was. Okay, and in that case the toaster oven will be much closer to this little ventilation thing which we have over here, and then it will receive better ventilation, and it will be in the more proper place too, actually, because it's closer to the main oven. So all the ovens are kind of situated in the same area. And by moving the fridge over here and changing the direction in which its doors, the freezer and the fridge door, are opened presently to the right and then later to the left after we move it here, the fridge will also be more accessible through this gap here between the counter and the dining room, and it's gonna be in the best place, well, if you're asking me anyway. Although I know the design here dictates to us that we should put the fridge over there, and if you do move the fridge to the right, or if you have a bigger fridge that occupies that space, which has actually been designed for a larger fridge in fact, yeah, then that works, but we don't want that. We don't really need that, especially because of that heat problem that I talked about. When you cook here, the heat from certain cooking procedures gets to the fridge badly and it doesn't perform well. We have had this problem ever since we got this fridge, and we used to think that the fridge was not working right, but I'm sure the problem is not because of that. I mean, the fridge is okay, and it's only because of this heat, that extra heat that gets here. And alright, the changes took place, and I just put these things here, and the fridge is no longer there. I added some lights I had for a long time, and I had almost never used them, and then I put them in these two places, and small toaster oven is moved from that countertop to this new kind of countertop. Another good thing is these two small cabinets over here are now more easily and comfortably accessible because the fridge is no longer in the way anyway, and then the fridge was moved in here, and now the only thing that remains is we decide to eventually change the position, I mean the direction in which the two doors of the freezer and the fridge open up, right? We will do it. I mean, probably right now or tomorrow. And well, the only big problem is that we had to move this dining table a little bit more towards the living room area, but well, it's okay because we gained a lot more better stuff by doing this thing, especially the moving space. I mean, here we can move more freely than before, because formerly the fridge was protruding out of that line over here, which we have the oven, you see. The fridge was over here almost, right? And now that new